Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Darby O'Gill and the Little People. This is a 1959 film from Disney, and it's about an hour and a half long. There's even a credit, by the way. There's no Walt Disney appearance, but he does have a little note at the beginning thanking the Little People, including King, what's his face here? Why can't I remember? King Brian. King Brian thanking him and his people for making this production possible. So technically, Walt Disney is in this just as a quote in the very beginning of the film. So yeah, at the end of the credits, basically, because back in the old days, you had to front load the credits, or you were out. You were violating motion picture rules. Anyway, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Obviously, it's an Irish tale. It's takes place in early, I imagine, 1900s, probably even earlier. There's no cars, so it's 1800s maybe. It's it stars Sean Connery, a very young Sean Connery, pre James Bond. He is dashing, dark eyes, dark those eyebrows, everything. He is just Sean Connery at his young man machismo peak. And yes, he's a Scotsman playing an Irishman, and that might be a crime in some people's eyes, but yeah. But the thing is, the reason I mention this is the fact that he is not the star of the film. He has somewhat of a supporting role. Now, I mean, yeah, he's core, not core. He's important to the story overall for the main characters, which is Darby O'Gill, obviously played by Albert Sharp. Albert Sharp. And his daughter Janet is Katie, played by Janet Monroe. Now, Darby is, of course, he's in the title, so he's the main character. He has this strange relationship with King Brian. He is a rivalry. They kind of outwit each other. If you know anything about leprechauns, yeah, if you haven't figured out, he's a leprechaun. It's an Irish tale. Come on. So it's always about Irishmen telling tales about how they just miss getting that pot of gold, and yeah, it's a battle of wits between the two of them throughout the film. You think that they're the best of friends, but then they're really just manipulating each other in order to either get wishes or get out of wishes, or he wants to get out of giving wishes. So yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Like, is there a finite repository of wishes, and does he lose anything by giving them? I don't know. It's maybe just a matter of principle, because Anyway, there's a really good chance that they don't exist. Now, throughout this, Darby is the only person who sees the Little People, even though there are plenty of opportunities for other people to lay eyes on King Brian. In fact, King Brian technically does communicate with other characters in their dreams. So that might lend it to the theory that he is real, because they're not really. It's not really in their dreams. He's really there in their rooms. It's a complicated matter. I mean, I think there could be if there was the internet back then, there may have been a debate on Reddit where they would say Darby O'Gill and King Brian is real and King Brian is not. Yeah, it could be a thing. It could have been a thing. It could be a thing now. I don't know. You tell me. If you think that Brian is real or not, feel free to comment away below. But yeah, this is this I'm pretty sure is mostly all in his head. Now the thing is, you would normally attribute such beliefs, such strong beliefs as belonging to a man who drinks a lot, spending a lot of time in the pub. It's an old Irish cliche that they drink too much and love potatoes and everything else. He's actually not a drinker. He spends a lot of time in the pub. Well, he does drink a little, I think, but I don't. He's never shown as drunk. He's never shown as out of his mind. He's not. He's never incoherent. Let's just say that. But it lends itself the story lends itself to him being not all there. He might have delusions. He's getting up there, maybe, I don't know. That's one of the points of the story here. He's getting older, and they need a new person to take over all of his duties in the small town, stopping poachers and keeping the grounds clean and everything else. Oh, by the way, Disney rule, dead mother. His wife is gone, so that means that Katie is growing up young and beautiful. She's 20 and she's still single. What is wrong with her? But she's also missing a mother, and the only woman that seems to come around and pay attention to her is this much older woman who is trying to get her ear and point her towards her son, who is a jerk. His name's Pony, and he's a jerk, and he's making his moves on Katie, and she's not having it. But if anybody else doesn't bite, what other choice does she have? Well, there's a certain guy who's just come to town, who is named Michael McBride, played by Sean Connery. So what do you think might happen between those two? Believe it or not, it seems like I'm watching two different movies, even though they just take place in the same universe. So much of it is Darby dealing with the little people. It's just him alone in a scene with technically nobody, talking to people who are supposed to be there. But of course, I mean, this is 1959. This is probably top of the line special effects, because the little people are not even 2 feet tall. They like to dance a lot, and there's a big sequence that seems to take really, really long, where Darby plays the fiddle, and they dance and dance, and they start going faster and faster and faster, and he hopes to get them all riled up so that they can either, I don't know if he's trying to tire them out, or at least at one point they all decide to go on a fox hunt, because that's what you do. Also, by the way, I learned from this that leprechauns have tiny horses. Yeah, tiny horses. They're just about this big, that they ride. So I don't know where they get them. I don't know how they're not running wild everywhere, but they must have the same invisibility powers that the leprechauns have. Don't know. So yeah, one is just Darby dealing with the little people, dealing with wishes and losing wishes, and telling stories about the time he first met King Brian, and got wishes and lost wishes and all sorts of things. There's a rule here that I learned that I didn't know about before when it came to leprechauns, is that you can make 3 wishes, but if you dare make a 4th, you lose all the wishes. That's important to the story here. But yeah, it's a rule that never heard of before. But the other part of the movie is the courtship of Katie, and her going, I don't really need a dude right now. I'm fine the way I am. And Michael, Sean Connery, doesn't seem to be interested either. Partly because he has to take her father's job away from him, replace him, kick them out of their house, and live there. And he doesn't want to do any of that. He's just been told by his boss that he has to. And that's just not good. And so you don't want to be courting the same girl you're going to kick out of her house. Unless, hey, why don't you marry her? Kill a lot of birds with one stone. And yeah, I realize I probably told you way too much about what the story of this is, but it's still, if you haven't seen it, odds are a lot of people have not. I owned this thing on DVD for many years. I'm not sure. I think I won it in like a prize basket or something many years ago, and I never opened it, never watched it, because it just has that weird. Well, this doesn't do it, but it had a really weird, super colorful, like overly colored, airbrushed cover of Sean Connery and Janet Monroe, and it just looked strange to me. Like they were just trying to convince me this is not in black and white. You want to watch this. It definitely feels like old Disney. It has, but there's an awful lot of drinking in it. A ton of drinking. It's romance. It's an adventure. It's an effects piece, because again, it's You're dealing with people of two different sizes working within the same scene. There's also, by the way, I marked this down, 21 minutes into this movie is one freaky looking horse. Just telling you that right now. Skip, if you don't want to watch any of this whatsoever, skip ahead to about the 21 minute mark, and you're going to be like, what is going on? What is with that horse? I'm not kidding. It's very strange. So, yeah, I can't say I really recommend this unless you're just super into vintage Disney, classic Disney. It's princess free. It does have a certain, obviously, supernatural level of storytelling, but yeah, I can't say that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a great film. It has a certain amount of charm. You got to see a young Sean Connery, and rest in peace, and gorgeous Janet Monroe. She's just a. There's only like 3 women in this entire movie, so the rest are just dudes in a pub and a man who hangs out with little people, and and Sean Connery, and that's about it. So she's a shining beacon of light in this movie. So yeah, I can't say that this is a must watch, but if you want to see every bit of classic Disney, this in this case would be a must watch. So make sure you grab a hold of it and watch it. Who knows? They might take it away for something. I don't know reason. There's no weird racism or anything, or anything controversial in it. It pretty much, unless somebody gets really upset about how they depict Irish people, I think it'll be around for a really long time. And there's nothing with this. Watch it if you don't want to watch it now. Wait till next March. Watch it next March and put it on while you're wearing a green hat and doing St. Patrick's Day stuff, drinking a lot. If you drink a lot, I imagine it might be more entertaining, but it's an all right film. It's not great, but it's not bad. But it is definitely a piece of Disney history. You love that? You be watching it. All right, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
643.
643. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. The neighbors are walking around outside my window. 643. Come on. Huh. Okay. We have a short. I should probably know what this is, but I don't. But we'll figure it out together. Us Again. Us Again. It's not a sequel to that Jordan Peele movie. I'm guaranteeing you that. Us Again on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.